welcome. So I will be doing a series of videos to talk about different topics that are related to things that we do every day. Things like financial literacy or purchasing a car, what is a 401k, things like that. So today I thought I would pick on purchasing a car because I had a question by someone who was purchasing one, and I remember how complicated it can be. And if you're buying a used one, especially if you're not buying it from a dealer, or even if you're buying from a dealer, depending on the dealer. So here are some tips when you're purchasing a car. The first one is you have to research your price in pages online, like for example Kelley Blue Book or Edmunds. I like to use Edmunds. That's edmunds.com. So you go in there, you put in the year of the car that you're eyeing, the miles that it has, any features that it has, the type, and the make, and it will tell you how much that car should be sold if you're buying it from a private person, from an individual, if you're buying it from a dealer, what the highest end and the lower end price and what the mid-range is. So you try to stay within those ranges depending on what the cosmetic and problems that the car may have are. Now, the next thing you should look at is you should always get the VIN number, so you could do research before you go see it. So because usually you won't have a lot of time to do this when you're meeting the person, for example, or you're going to a dealer. So email the person and ask them for what the VIN number is. Now, a VIN number is the vehicle identification number. It's a number that separates each car from each other and how they're known and registered and everything. Usually you'll find it on the dashboard by the driver's side, on that little corner right by the window. Sometimes it's on the door, but if that door was changed, it's more than likely it's gonna have the VIN for another car, I assume. So check the one on the dashboard. It will be also in the front, somewhere around where the engine goes. Get that VIN number and go to a couple of websites. One of them is the National Insurance Crime Bureau. That's NICB.org. That website will tell you if the car has a salvage title, and I'll explain that in a moment, or if it was stolen. If they were reported to one of the insurance companies that registers with this National Insurance Crime Bureau. You should go to the emissions website for your state. So for example, I'm from the state of Connecticut, so it'll be connecticutemissions.com. You put in the VIN number and it tells you if the car needs to do emissions. If it's past the emission date, or if the title is from another state, then yes, you have to do emissions. And that's where you have to check on a couple things, and I'll tell you that in a moment too. But just find the emissions website for the Department of Motor Vehicle for your state, and then check the VIN to see if you need to do emissions or not on the car. A dealer, if it's past the emission date, has to do emissions before they sell it to you. They cannot sell it to you without doing the emissions. The emissions is due next month or something. I don't know what that means then, but emissions can be real expensive if your car has problems. I mean, very expensive, so be very careful with that. Let's talk about when you're driving. You look for sounds when you're driving. Put your windows down, make sure that you don't hear anything that doesn't sound okay. Also, other things to look at when you're looking at the car is make sure that the miles that are on the title are right around the miles that you're buying. Like if you're buying a car that has 100,000 miles on the title, and now you 150, that's a lot of stuff have happened between those 50,000 miles. But just a few thousand miles is okay, because I gotta transport it from wherever it's going to wherever it's going. Check that the VIN number, again, the vehicle identification number, which is really key to everything, is the same one on the dashboard as on the title, so you're getting the right title for the right car, because you don't want to get the title for a different car. So make sure that matches. The title, depending on the state you're in, can be problematic because you cannot have the title with another cell form from the DMV And then another form, another form. If it is individuals selling it, they're supposed to register before they sell it. Dealers are supposed to, dealers can do that. That's not a problem. But when you have an, individual to the next, you might get some issues. Depends on your DMV. So make sure that, you check with the DMV to see that's okay. All of that stuff. Like, if it is the same person signing it, then that's fine. The owner that is listed on the title, you just gotta check on that. You don't want issues with that when you go to register, because they're not gonna give you the money back. You may not even see them again. So, when you turn on the car, really important here. When you turn it on, don't go all the way on. Just open the switch. Make sure that all of the lights on the dashboard turn on, and then when you turn on the car, they turn off. Listen to this. The check engine light is the most important light you're gonna find in there. That check engine light did not turn on when you open up, but the other ones did. It might have an emissions problem, and they may have, or something else, usually emissions. They may have turned it off by breaking the light or taking off the bulb. So it doesn't turn on and you don't think the car has trouble. You should not have lights on the car when you're buying it, especially that check engine light. Key here, and I'm repeating it, if you're not a mechanic or you don't have a good mechanic with you, do not buy a car with the check engine light on, or with the check engine light that is not turning on. I talked to someone who told me they bought it, the check engine light did not go on, but they didn't check if it went on first. And when they took it to the emissions, it was several $1,000 at the emissions place. I think this person got it for much less when someone he knew fixed it. But still, it was more money they weren't planning on spending, and they thought they were buying a car without a check engine light on, but the check engine light had been turned off, or I don't remember if it was the bulb was taken out or something, but it did not turn on because it was not there, so it wasn't able to. So make sure you don't get the check engine light on. And trying to think if there's any salvage titles. I did talk about that a moment ago. So salvage title, that usually happens when the car was in an accident, and usually to fix it, you're talking about 75-80% of the value of the car before the accident. So the insurance company says, no, we're not fixing that. They just pay the person off, and then they take the car and then they sell it. Could be sold for parts, could be sold to a place that now that they're getting it really cheap can actually rebuild it themselves, so they don't have so much expenses, and then they sell it. But in order to sell it, because the car already got a salvage title with the DMV has to give them a new title that says that the car was salvaged since rebuilt and it's okay to be on the road. It has to pass an inspection to be on the road again. If you're not a mechanic, you don't have good friends mechanics, you might not want to get into that. So just because it's cheaper does not mean that it's the best option, okay? Especially if you don't know anything about cars. So I'll keep those things in mind. And then the last thing, just do your maintenance, just keep on top of that, oils. When you buy it the first time, just go change the oil, just go change the spark plugs and things like that, the air filter, that's like real cheap. Like, do all that stuff the first time you got it. Just get rid of it, because you don't know when the last person did it, how long it is, and that stuff messes up the car with time. So just make sure you do it that one time. That extra expense, keep the couple $100 to do that, and then just get it done. And then you're all set, just a few months later down the road, then you do it again, and then you just keep going, maintaining your car. That's it. If you have any questions about that, just let me know. My dad is a mechanic. So I usually will ask him. So yeah, that's it. Thank you.